to, as much as possible, not take it for granted, appreciate it every day. It's a wonderful way to stay connected to the Great Lakes, furthering the stories and finding unique ways to celebrate the Upper Peninsula.
Welcome to something special. Welcome to TEDx. This TEDx event is part of a global conversation that takes place every day in every corner of the world. In schools, in theaters, in workplaces, even in prisons, people gather to hear the best ideas bubbling up in their communities. More than 3,000 TEDx events are held every year in 170 countries. It's a remarkable thing. TEDx events are self-organized under a license from TED, a non-profit organization devoted to discovering and sharing powerful ideas in the form of TED Talks. It's not TED itself, but your local TEDx team of volunteers that has done all the work to put on today's event, including booking all of the speakers. It's this team's ideas, dedication, and time that have made this possible. We really hope today's program sparks an exciting conversation. This is a day for curiosity and for skepticism, for inspiration and for action. The more you enter into it, the more you will take out. And now, on with the show.
We are the X.
The multipliers, the connectors.
We are the X.
The multipliers.
The catalyst. The connectors. The amplifiers.
The idea people who
back
have
it up
to
with
have
action.
We challenge the status quo.
We are creators, artists,
entrepreneurs,
designers,
geeks, poets,
scientists, thinkers, and doers. We come together to
collaborate, to share fresh ideas,
and to find
inspiration.
We believe Michigan is a great place to live, work, and play. We are optimistic about the future.
I heard you.
We believe Detroit best
days lie ahead.
We
are the people who are making it happen. We believe that is an idea worth spreading. You guys.
All right, beat poetry, not really our thing, but welcome to the 50th anniversary TEDxDetroit. The spirit. It's grit and determination. That's part of it. But that creativity and that ability to collaborate with others. I love Tommy Walker's Detroit versus Everybody brand. I think it's a great fashion brand. I think it's a great sports slogan, but I think it's really wrong in one of the most important ways that Detroit excels. It's really Detroit plus everyone. We're going to meet people who've come from around the world to work in Detroit, to create in Detroit. Michigan is such a magical place, man. It's a high five for the whole world because we're making it happen. And everywhere. We can work it out. Okay, sorry. You can feel the spirit of Detroit in the bass at the club. You can feel it when you're walking our beautiful river walk. If you haven't walked our river walk, it's world class. The waves of the river lapping against the seawall. You hear it when we drive, the thrum of the engine. You hear it when we walk. There's a beat to Detroit that's always moving forward. Today, we're going to introduce some people from all different walks of life, from chefs to engineers to poets, musicians, magicians, designers, people who are taking action. And our only hope is that you open your mind to fresh thinking, you open your mind to collaboration, and you take this in and do something with it. Let this be the water for all the seeds of the ideas that you've been sitting on. But the one thing we always say at TEDx is the people sitting next to you are as cool as the people on the stage. These are people who've taken a day off work, that are optimistic, that are looking forward. So if we could get the house lights on for just a second, I'd love everyone to take a minute to stand up, introduce yourself to the person next to you, because they are an X. All right, now put an X over your mouth. Sit down. That's the problem when you get creative people wound up. They just start creating and interacting. Those charged particles, we want you to bounce off all day. And we'll talk about that as we go to labs later. But for the next hour and a half, I want your attention up on this red dot where we are going to point to the future. Let's get started.
Please welcome to the TEDx Detroit stage, operating partner from Detroit Venture Partners, Gabe Karp.
There's a space, a mental space, that every one of us has experienced. For many, it's been a space of great suffering. In fact, some of us in this room might be suffering in that space right now. It's been the cause of wars, shattered relationships, squandered dreams, and broken lives. But it's an imposter and can be easily conquered. I'm talking about the space between expectation and reality, the expectation gap. And the wider that gap becomes, the greater our suffering is. The research and 30 years of experience show that we can eliminate that suffering from our lives with 2 simple steps. Step 1, don't get mad at penguins because they can't fly. This is a lesson in acceptance. We should accept people's limitations and not expect them to do things they're not capable of, even though we may really, really want them to. And one of the things that makes that such a challenge is that oftentimes it's hard to see someone's limitations, especially if everything else we know about them suggests that they're not limited. Take a penguin, for example. What do you mean a penguin can't fly? It's a bird, it's got wings, it's got feathers, and birds with wings and feathers can fly. Except that penguins can't. Flight is simply beyond their ability. We could choose to get mad at that, or we can accept it. We often find ourselves dealing with someone who's continually falling short of our expectations. Maybe it's someone who's always late, no matter how important it is to us that they be on time. Yet we continue to expect that on this occasion, they won't be late. Or maybe we have one of those chronically unhappy friends who's always injecting just a little negativity, giving us a little personal jab every time we have some good news to share. Yet we continue to hope that the next time we have something to celebrate, they'll be happy for us and we can enjoy the occasion together. Now, that's the expectation, but if we think about it, we know the reality is something different. And that gap in there is where we suffer, because the reality is oftentimes the other person is simply not capable of behaving in the way that we want. If we do have that unhappy friend, the reality is that they're not capable of being happy for themselves, let alone us. It's got nothing to do with us. So the next time they get annoyed when we have some good news to share, don't get mad, don't take it personally. It's not their fault they're not capable of being happy for us. They're not making a choice. It is simply beyond their ability. And getting mad at them for that is like getting mad at a penguin because it can't fly. And penguins aren't just people. It's any situation where we find ourselves suffering in the expectation gap. It's the traffic jam when we're late. It's the torrential downpour on our beach vacation. It's that little piece of spinach we find in our teeth immediately after the most important interview of our lives. The reply all email meant for one person, and the ridiculous belief that we can limit ourselves to just one potato chip. Don't get mad at penguins. Step 2, choose your own ending. When people fall short of our expectations, we get to choose how we want to react. Some say we can't choose our emotional reactions because they're involuntary. We have no control. The truth is, we absolutely can choose. That doesn't mean we can choose to never feel that initial flash of anger, fear, or anxiety when we're triggered. But the lifespan of those instinctive responses is measured in seconds, not hours or days. And what happens next is entirely within our control. If we allow the instinctive response to continue, we focus on how this person is always making us feel angry, fearful, anxious. We go with the emotion, let it drive our response. And not just for hours or days, sometimes years, even decades. That's a choice. We can choose to not go with the emotion. We can choose to shift our focus away from that instinctive response. And with that awareness, we have the power to control our emotions rather than allowing them to control us. At that point, you get to choose your own ending. It may seem like this daunting thing, but it's remarkably easy and highly effective the first time we try it. In fact, the hardest part is just remembering to do it in the moment. The next time you feel yourself triggered, take just one deliberate breath. That's all most of us need to pull us out of an instinctive response and into intellectual awareness. That will give you power and control. Use it to choose your own ending. And of course, not all penguins look alike. Years ago, I was defending a company in a commercial litigation, business divorce. Complicated case, millions of dollars at stake. One day I'm standing above my desk, looking down at all the documents laid out, trying to get a bird's eye view, because for every legal and business reason you could think of, these parties should have resolved their dispute long before they ended up in court. I can't see what's driving this conflict. So I call up my client, who's the CEO of one of the defendant companies, and explain my confusion. He says, "Oh, I know what you're missing." And then he starts talking about Milton, who is the president of the company that started this entire lawsuit. And randomly, he starts talking about golf. He says, "Look, I love golf, play it all the time. It's like an issue in my family." But for Milton, litigation is his golf. It's sport to him. He sues everybody. He sued his business partner 30 years. He sued his next door neighbor. He even sued his own brother. And I've been doing business with Milton for years, and I guess it was just my turn to get sued. Well, everything about the case now instantly makes sense. Milton needs to win all the time. And worse, he needs to win by fighting. If the other side immediately caves to Milton's demands, he won't be satisfied. No, he wants to impose his will onto the other side. He wants to break the will of his opponent. Milton is what some people call an asshole. Maybe you work with a Milton. Maybe you're related to one. Miltons pop up in all aspects of life. The Miltons of the world would rather be right and would rather win than be happy. My Milton was a penguin whose ego imposed severe limitations on his behavior. Here's a tip. Catering to your own ego is costly. Catering to someone else's ego is free. If you find that you're dealing with someone whose ego is driving the conflict, feed that person's ego. It'll cost you nothing. Recognize they have a need to feel powerful. So tell them they're powerful and respectfully ask they not use their power to hurt you. Once we took that approach with Milton, he was pleasant, accommodating, and the case resolved in a matter of weeks. Once we accepted that Milton was a penguin who was never going to fly, once we closed the gap between our expectation of how we thought Milton should behave and the reality of his limitations, our suffering ended. So the next time you find yourself suffering in the expectation gap, you've got a toolkit to eliminate that suffering from your lives. Don't get mad at penguins. Don't expect people to do things they're not capable of. And choose your own ending. We all have the ability to disrupt our instinctive responses, control our emotions, and then choose how we want to react. If we can all inject this toolkit into our relationships, our families, our communities, and our careers, we can eliminate a whole lot of suffering. Thank you.
Please welcome Arabia Simeon, founder, Politics on the Go.
Thank you. I have a confession to make. I'm addicted to my phone. Actually, the internet. And I know I'm not the only one. Some of you may be wondering if you fit into this category. If you speak in TikTok trends or memes, welcome. If you're addicted to Candy Crush like my mom, welcome. And if you get most of your news from social media instead of traditional news sources, welcome. Now I want all of you to read the sign behind me. On the count of 3, I want us to say this together. Make sure you insert your name. 1, 2, 3. I'm Arabia, and I'm addicted to my phone and the internet. Now that we're all on the same page, let's get into that a little bit. Most things today are digital. With that comes a shift in the way that we engage with the world around us. We are connecting online more. We're using our phones more, and social media is taking over. For young people especially, our phones are our main mode of communication and engagement. Social media sits at the nexus of the two. Social media is building a digital archive of youth culture that starts with young people. It starts with me. That starts with young people. Oh my gosh. But let's get into voting. First, let's start with if we have unlimited access to information, why aren't young people voting? That's the question I always ask myself. Let's start with the myths of the youth vote. We've all heard it before. Young people don't care about voting. Young people don't impact elections. And some even say that young people aren't experienced enough to vote. Based off of my research and other studies, we've proven these myths to be untrue. Young people care about politics. They just engage differently. Young people don't feel represented by politics, and that is the main issue. They're doing the work, though. If we look at I Voted, they saw a gap where 66% of US millennials were more likely to attend a live music festival than to vote. So in 2020, they hosted the largest virtual concert where they featured 17 stages and 450 artists. According to MIT, I Voted has increased youth voter turnout by 7% since 2018, which is huge. Just like music, social media is a vehicle for voter mobilization. Let's take Gen Z for Change, for example. Started as a social media brand, now a national nonprofit, they built an organizer network that has mobilized 500 million youth voters across social media. But there's still a gap here. Young people aren't making it to the polls after being activated on social media. But they are showing up more than the last couple of generations. According to census data, in 2018, millennials and Gen Z voters turned out at 32%. This is higher than the last 3 generations did at that same age. So if young people are showing up more and they are engaging on Instagram and on social media, why aren't they voting in the potential mass numbers? It's because they're still facing many pain points. Social media activation is one thing, but when it comes to politics all over, they don't feel like campaigns are targeting them. They don't feel represented or connected by politicians today. They also struggle with finding credible news sources. They don't know what to trust. And since social media is their main form of engagement, that's where they turn first. But what if we had one single platform that merged the gap between social media activation and meeting and actually hitting the polls on election day? That's where my startup comes in. By 2028, Gen Z and millennials will make up majority of eligible voters in this country. So the potential is huge. They are policy driven, and that trumps political parties for our generations. At Pogo, we're simplifying the voter experience for Gen Z and millennials. Our nonpartisan mobile app makes election research quick, personalized, and transparent. We match voters to candidates who are on their ballot who most closely align. All you have to do is swipe right to save those candidates to your ballot, and you can track everything from when and where you need to vote. We're making election research quick and fun. We're gamifying this platform so that people will get addicted to using it and hopefully engage beyond just federal elections. At Pogo, our long-term vision is to actually target local elections first. We're working from the bottom up so that we can inform everyday voters and meet them where they are. Young people need this. Young people are fighting for this already all over social media and in person. I'm the one that's going to give it to them. At Pogo, we're making sure to stay nonpartisan to make sure that the information is accessible to everyday voters. Before I go, I want to wrap up and just tell you what you've learned today. 1, young voters care about politics, so get that out your head. They just engage differently. They're already doing the activation work through social media, through in-person, and now this platform will allow them, the everyday person, to join in the fight. And lastly, the potential that young voters have to make when it comes to elections is huge. We're going to be majority of the voter population very soon. So it's time that politics is tailored to us and actually meets us where we are. It's time that politics tailor their strategies, their dollars, and their messaging to young voters. I do have an ask of you today. If you liked what you heard, please join our community. With your help, we can go from likes to votes and inform the next generation of politics. Scan this QR code and meet me in the vendor booth. Thank you so much.
Please welcome Amber Coffee Osley, poet and host of Midnight Coffee.
Can you all join me and just breathe? She motivate manifestation, magic. She danced as she stood tall. Together we shook the world, loosed demons from our bones. We stretched, expressed respect. I recollect the connection where I learned work ethic. Jack of all trades, but dreams don't barter. They just do. And we be once a dream to God until we became the truth. As he opened his eyes in triple dark skies with all his might, he cried, "Let there be light." And we lit, dancing in the street, our feet sending rhythmic vibrations deep beneath the earth. She matches the magic of commuting. It's sacred communication with community, conducting energy, live wire, giving live fire direction in the efforts of nourishing and protecting. As we reach for the sky, she holds us down, securing the source to the sound. No reason to find our place, we come and go here. So no matter what else lives here, we will always grow here, our roots trace through any land. Not captivated by nationality, there's no place we've never been, no boundaries in love and kin. When you come from the earth, you only go with the wind. And if you listen, the gentle wisp of the sky sound like a mother's cries as she prays her children make it home to her. Through her reverence, we be carried and able to fly through her promise with the Most High, and water breaks. Free from the weight of fear as God responds to her tears, we are relieved in our resistance to find the sky has no limits when you reach for the sun. But it only burns as bright as your focus. So focus be precious, like gentle notions, valuable but never token. See, we are reflections, worthy of attention, of mamas who made more than meals in their kitchens. Their recipes bind curses, enlighten intention. We are walking word. Wisdom transcribed on the soles of our feet. Encourage her. She inspires me. Turn house to home and keep it clean. See, mama said closets have woodworks too. And turning the light on will brighten your point of view. Your fears be dust, debris, like fallen leaves from trees. Get you a broom and breathe, but never sweep your feet. As we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, keep your direction discreet and be conscious about your sugar because ain't nothing else here sweet. See, God is alive in the light on your cheeks. Remember your grace. As the earth shall be inherited by the meek, ain't no shade or color that can't come from the dirt. No matter who you are, we all have the same mother, earth. That's mahogany. Thank you.
Please welcome entrepreneur and author, Tom Nardone.
All right, everybody, I'm excited to be here. I'm getting close to retirement. I have one secret that has charged my career forward, and I'm going to share it with you today. To get one great idea, you need 36 ideas and a system to find the best. So let's go. This is me. I have a lot of ideas, and I've been successful. That's all we need to talk about. So here's an overview of how I give a speech. I learned this 30 years ago. First, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. Then I'm going to tell it to you with my own experience. Then I'll tell you one last time. Your job is to clap and then remember what we've talked about. So my ethos is to get one great idea. You need 36 ideas and a system to find the best. So here for the visual thinkers in the room, there's 36 ideas. They come through the little system and out poops a great idea. So why do you want a great idea? Well, it's obvious. We're not even going to talk about it. Where do the 36 ideas come from? Where do you get them? Ideas only come from one place. They come from somebody's brain, right? Could be you, team member, somebody. A good person who wants a great idea will capture these ideas. You trap them. I trap them in notes. I trap them on my phone. I trap them in sketches. I treasure a new idea. And I have a system in place that keeps them forever. I can look back years to find interesting ideas. Why do you need 36 of them? I just made it up. You know, there's a certain level of BS in every presentation, and you just found mine. So, but the truth is you need a bunch of ideas. You can't go to the first college you ever heard of. You can't marry the first person you ever met. You need to think of some options ahead. So start collecting those ideas, whatever it may be. So what is the system we talk about? Well, it's going to be different depending on what type of ideas you're going to sort through. But I have 3 rules. One, it should be a proven system. This should be a system other people have used to sort through similar ideas. And we'll talk about that. The system's often analytical because you're trying to rank different things and you need some sort of measure so you can find the best one. And it should be appropriately thorough. You don't have to analyze every decision you ever make with a crazy system. But if you're going to choose what career to go into, what business to start, where you want to live, you know, those type of things, I encourage you to put some thought into it and weigh some options. So here's some example systems. Writing a business plan is what I do. That's my sort of realm. Market research, analyzing failure modes, like which one of these things is going to hurt us the least if it goes bad. Surveys, censuses, elections, these are systems. If you're a visual thinker, the vision boards, or consulting with experienced leaders is actually a system. If you have a board of directors or just someone who knows what they're talking about. What I want to stress with you is, I might have lost you, but I want to stress with you that you can do this. This thing that has caused me to find success is available to you. In fact, you already have experience with it. You already do it. An example is a lunch menu. You're given a lunch menu, there's 40 options on what you're going to eat, and none of us is starved yet, right? We've all figured it out at some point. We've sorted through. So, do you eat what you feel like? Congratulations, you're an experienced leader, right? Do you have dietary restrictions? If you have celiac disease, you have an analytical, advanced system to know what to choose for lunch. You know what has gluten in it, what doesn't. Are you on a budget? You're not broke, my friend. You're doing an economic analysis, right? Do you check the reviews, Yelp and Google? You are analyzing market research. Are you going to order for a group? Well, you probably should take a survey on what everybody likes. These are systems to analyze what is coming next and to make the right decision. So you can do this. This is a system you can use. So here's where I talk about my experience. I sold a company I had started. It went very well for me, and I wanted to start another company. I had a great team in place, and my system is to analyze business plans. I write business plans and analyze them. I dug into my idea books. That's why I keep idea books. And I found 36 business ideas I'd had over the last 20-something years. And many of them didn't go anywhere, but I had an AI generate graphics for some of them. So I brought you some AI-generated pictures of some weird business ideas. Should I make wetsuits for old people, right? This is an idea. How about a device that helps people not get stuck on the toilet? How about an ultra premium costume company for people that really like Halloween, right? Oh, you didn't laugh at that one. So I've seen a lot of package delivery drones, but I haven't seen one yet that climbs stairs. I have stairs. How are you going to get the package to my door, right? I was in China, and they have these rooftop hot water heaters. They don't look anything like this fancy thing, but I thought maybe I could bring those to the US. The Boy Scouts sell popcorn. My kids were scouts. Why don't they sell like survival gear, right? They're supposed to be prepared. So Honda made this buggy called the Odyssey, not the minivan, and I thought it deserved to come back. People who can't read, don't speak English, or don't see very well would really have a difficult time finding a headache medicine in today's drugstore. I thought it would be a good idea to have a company that had really obvious labeling in the pharmaceutical business. I believe in pheromones. I sold them for years. They improve our attractiveness and our attraction. I thought it would be a good idea for nightclubs and venues like this to bomb people with pheromones so they had a good time. So some other ones, different ideas, but this one I like. The robots that mow your lawn, they try to do it in like half an hour. They have all week, right? They should be a little tiny thing that costs $100. All these people figuring out how to grow weed in this city, somebody needs to grow real wasabi. And my favorite one, which we didn't do, was tandoori chicken is delicious and it could be fast food. So here's my system. I write business plans. Business plans find strengths and weaknesses in businesses and usually figure out something that isn't going to work. My team had certain capabilities, some things we can do and some things we can't, and we had desires. Would we want to do it? So then we found some businesses that got weeded out. They might need too much money. They might take too long to return the money. They might never make money. They might be beaten up by competitors, that type of thing. And then some things were bad fits. They were just too hard. I don't want to work hard. Nobody wants to work hard, right? Don't you want easy money? Like, that's what I'm looking for. So my final decision was we started a company called Dignity Lifts. We make toilet lifts so people don't get stuck on the bathroom. You guys laughed, but that's what I do for a living. And we help the elderly and disabled with it. And we help them to go to the bathroom independently. No one wants someone in the bathroom with them, right? And then why'd we do it? The business plan looked great. There was no weaknesses. It was great for my team, and we weren't ashamed to do it. So here's my website. We make 5 different lifts now. We've won 3 industry awards. No other toilet lift had ever won an industry award, and we won 3 of them. And yeah, thank you. And so to summarize, to get one great idea, you need 36 ideas in a system. The ideas need to be collected, not just in one brainstorming session, although those are great. Just try to write them down, hold them dearly. They're very important. They could change your life someday. And then the system's goal is to weed out the bad ideas. And then when you have that one treasured idea, you can move forward confidently. And confidence is important. So we're all going to read this. On the count of 3, we're going to read it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. To get one great idea, you need 36 ideas and a system to find the best. Thank you, everybody. I'm Tom Nardone.
Please welcome the founder of the Kitchen Crew, Cora Coles. As a parent to young children who also happens to teach kids cooking classes, I can tell you with great certainty that teaching kids to cook can sometimes feel like an immense battle of wills, an endless string of mishaps, and an extreme test of our limits. But it doesn't have to. Take one example. How do you teach a kid to crack an egg? Well, the first thing to know is that it's actually not about the egg at all. It's about teaching kids to know that they have the courage to do difficult things, putting them squarely in control of their abilities, and reassuring them that even when things go wrong, because they will go wrong, that they can still recover with flying colors. And it doesn't just apply to eggs. When we teach kids about ingredients that are outside of their comfort zone, outside of what they're familiar with, we introduce them to cultures and cuisines from around the world. Even though travel might not always be a feasible option, you can still experience the world on a plate. And when you take those ingredients and transform them into different recipes, you get even more options. Yet you're a child who says they can't stand a particular vegetable or a particular fruit. Maybe they just haven't had it prepared in the way that they like. There are millions of ingredients and millions of recipes, and the beauty is we have the freedom and ability to try them all. Teaching kids how to be safe in the kitchen, like at the stove, and feeling comfortable with them at the stove is important. Teaching them different knife skills. So think like watching them slice an onion this way, and then cut it across, and then finally down, and watching all the little diced onion pieces fall off. And kids' minds are blown that they just learned to do that, something that they had never done before, and it all happened in one fell swoop. That never gets old. The cooking and the food and the knife skills, those are all important, but arguably maybe even more important are the life skills they pick up along the way, like teamwork, patience, and creativity. Maybe they have to be in the kitchen with another student, or maybe they're at home with another family member. That's where those teamwork skills start to flex. Maybe they have to decide who's going to make which part of the dish. Or they have to handle sharp knives between each other, and they have to work together to make sure no one gets hurt. Or maybe they're in a cramped space, and they have to let each other know when they're nearby, just simply by saying, "Behind." That's one of the kids' favorite things in class, is to get to yell "behind" in class. And when we think about patience, so some of the best dishes are a labor of love, and they can feel like they take forever to be done. But when you go to open the oven, and then like you crack the lid of the Dutch oven, and you get all the smells coming out of the Dutch oven, then it all makes sense to them. It makes sense that some of the things that take the longest time to come to fruition are the ones that are most worth waiting for. And if you remember earlier when I said that things will go wrong, because they do go wrong, what happens if you're completely out of an ingredient? Or what happens if the food that you just prepped, the part of the dish that you just prepped, falls completely on the floor? What do you do then? Or what if you misread the measurements in the recipe, especially if you're baking? What do you do? That's an opportunity for the kids to flex their creative muscles and try to come up with a good solution. And we know it won't always be perfect, and that's okay. But the idea is in the exercise that they are flexing those creative muscles, and a lot of times they surprise even themselves with what they're able to come up with. So the cooking techniques and the food and all those things are important. The life skills are important. And teaching kids is a ton of fun. But I think I'm also glad to do this type of work because I believe it serves a greater purpose. Studies show that in heterosexual relationships where there are no children involved, women handle meal prep 75% of the time. When kids are added to that equation, the number actually goes up to 80%. While there's a ton of work to be done with the division of household labor, I take solace in the fact that we are doing this work and that we can bring along young girls and boys into the kitchen at the same rate and give them the same type of instruction everyone should be able to shop for and prepare meals for themselves and their families. With the disappearance of home economics and vocational technical instruction, especially out of schools now, I believe it's up to us to take that charge and carry the torch forward. At home, that might mean bringing children into the kitchen to help with this task or that, to stir, shake, mash, mix. One of my favorite things is to invite my kids in to be taste testers and to ask them to give me input on a dish that I might be making. Because even if they're not actively helping to prepare the meal, they can still have an impact on that meal. We can also help kids have a good relationship with food right from the start. So part of that means knowing the difference between whole foods and processed foods and being able to make educated decisions about them. I know what kind of fast-paced world we live in, and we can't always eat directly from the garden. I understand that, but it is good to be able to have an understanding of both so that we can make educated decisions. Long term, that means that we might start to improve health outcomes for diseases like hypertension, diabetes, and even cancer. So back to our egg. Why the egg? Well, it's kind of a perfect lesson. Eggs are everywhere, for one. They show up in cultures around the world, from potato salad to huevos rancheros to egg drop soup. They're everywhere. Everyone's familiar with them. Secondly, they are easy to recover from, right? So if you make a mistake, it's a short feedback loop. Remember earlier I talked about baking? Well, with baking, you put everything into the bowl, mix it all up, put it into the oven, and then you kind of cross your fingers and hope that your yeast was still good. You hope that, you did all the things right, but it's a long feedback loop, and you don't find out if things worked out until the very, very end. But simply cracking an egg, you know right away whether or not some shell got into the bowl. So short feedback loops are good for the kids because they know right away how to fix their mistake. If they made a mistake, no big deal, we can recover. So if we were in class, the way we teach kids to crack the eggs, I would say to you, look at the egg. First, just look at it. It's shaped like an oval, yes, but it also has a tip at the top. We're going to make sure that's pointing up. Find a hard, flat surface, and instead of cracking it on the side of the bowl and letting the shell get into the egg, instead, we're going to crack it here and look for a little dimple. When we see that dimple, we're going to pull our hands apart. So in class, we like to use little mnemonic devices. We'd say something like, tip to the top, tap until you hear a snap, thumbs apart, and that's a good start. Thank you.
Please welcome Raquel Soledad and Team Soul.
Hey, y'all. How we doing today, TEDx? Really quick before our performance, I just wanted to introduce myself, give you a little background on myself and the song we're performing today. My name is Raquel Soledad. I'm here with my Team Soul. Today we'll be performing my song Moonside. Little background on that. In 2020, I ended up moving to Los Angeles to, in a way, just follow my dream, push a little more, try to, get that oomph and creativity that I needed. And being over there, I kind of realized my light kind of dimmed. It kind of, it was hard to create. It was hard to be over there and away from home. I ended up honestly packing my bags and leaving by the end of the week. And coming home, I sat with myself for a little bit, and I just knew nobody else, nothing else was going to light that flame in me or just ignite what I needed to fulfill myself. And about 1.5 years ago, I held auditions for backup dancers and came out of it with the most amazing team, my best friends, my family, and since then, I've realized that as long as that light has been in me, I let that dim myself. I didn't see that. A lot of creatives do that. They are hard on themselves. They don't see how great they actually are. And being with them, they see that. They see me. They see everything I hold on the inside. And my song Moonside is about that light, about finding yourself, giving into that light, and making your dreams happen. Ever since I had my team, we've, been basically on tour around Michigan and doing our thing, and it's been absolutely great. And now we're here to share it with you guys, and we're super excited. So thank you.
Flashback, noontide, one waited. Oh, it started, slowly died, dissipated down to the ground with your love. I waited for a sign up above. I look all around, where'd you go? Up above and way down, down below. In the shallows of your soul, I can't find out if you're moving in love or you died out in the sun. You make it look like you're shining. Out on the run, you're moving faster than lightning. Away from your heart, and you don't know where to go. And no one can tell you, babe, you're on your own. You know you're on your own. You're lost in a brighter galaxy than what you got lost in, baby. Look at where you're headed like a meteorite. You know inside your mind that, baby, it's gonna be alright, alright. Flying so low, don't know where you're headed, but the world knows. Yeah, meteorite out of control, burning so damn deep, gotta explore. Yeah, meteorite from the shadows, going up your path, but you're so close. Meteorite flying so low, too low, don't fight, 'cause you're doing just fine. I know there's stars everywhere, seeming like they shine brighter than light. But baby, lean a little closer, you notice they are looking for that thing to ignite it. No, no, trying to find that path, find their way. No, but there's no place there leading to your fate. Everyone's a little lost, so don't desert from your flight. You just go ahead and guide you through the greatest of heights, baby, fly. You're lost in a brighter galaxy than what you got lost in, baby. Look at where you're headed like a meteorite. You know inside your mind that, baby, it's gonna be alright, alright. You're high into a peak that you prepared for, and I know it's scary, know you're reaching for a guy that you like, come shining through. Let your light be the guide of you. Meteorite so low, don't know where you're headed, but the world knows. Yeah, meteorite out of control, burning so damn deep, gonna explode. Yeah, meteorite from the shadows, from your path, 'cause you're so close. Meteorite so low, don't hide, 'cause you're doing just fine.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Please welcome the CEO of By the Block, Trey Little.
How and why? The two most asked questions that all of us wonder, right? How do we get this job promotion? How do we get the person of our dreams? How do we make it through tough times? Why did this person leave me? Why did my parents get divorced? Why am I in poverty? Why is life so hard? Why am I depressed? We ask these two questions, but not a lot of people will ask those questions and do the third thing, which is take step and take action. The good thing about asking these two questions is we can find tools and solutions to a lot of things. How did I survive the hood in the street wars of Detroit? And why would I go back? You would think everything you see on the news, everything you see on the media, and you see a lot of violence, you see a lot of people losing their life on a daily basis. So how did I survive this neighborhood in the street war? And why would I go back? My name is Trey Little. I was born and raised in Detroit. I had a teenage mom, and she was 15 when she gave birth to me. And then 4 years later, my dad was shot and killed. And it was all due to the streets. So you can imagine a teenage mom and then not having my dad. So I'm roaming the streets as I got older. And when I was around 13 years old, I'm trying to figure my life out. And I see that the neighborhood I'm in, okay, I'm going to school, I'm enjoying my life, playing video games. But once I seen everything going on around me, it was traumatizing. And I said, how am I going to make it out of this? But it was, why me? Why am I growing up like this? Why am I in poverty? Why don't I have my dad? Why don't I have money? Why can't I afford everything that everybody else can afford? And I started saying, why me, why me, why me? And then I said, you know what? How am I going to make it out of this? How am I going to accomplish my dreams? How am I going to survive this? Okay, well, there's this guy on the corner that I seen when I was walking to the store. He had a gun. Didn't nobody mess with him. They all respected him. Let me ask him, how did he become this way? So he taught me. I see the guy pulling up. He got the nice car. He got the sounds. How did you get the money to get this car? Teach me how to make money. Teach me how to save. Teach me how to think about money. He taught me. And every day I woke up saying, how? And I said, I want to travel. I want to do music. I want to tell my story like the artists that I look up to. People like 50 Cent, people like Jay-Z. How am I going to do this? So I started asking the local rappers, how can I make music? They took me to the recording studio. I got $5, started recording music. And then I started learning all the different tools to survive this neighborhood. So it was why at first, and then how. And I started learning. And number 3, I took action every time somebody taught me. So then once my mama moved us to the suburbs, I'm like, okay, I'm recording music now. I want to go and take this further. So I started saying, how can I do this? So I met someone who worked with one of Eminem's audio engineers. And then he said he was signed to a record label. He used to tour and he made it as a famous rock star. And then eventually they let it go and they stopped doing it. But I said, how did you do this? How did you get on the radio? How? And I just kept asking how, right? And he started showing me. And then every time he showed me, I took action. So next thing you know, years of hard work, I make it out of this neighborhood. Now I'm in the suburbs performing for like local venues with my music about growing up in the streets of Detroit and everything I experienced, surviving it. And then I'm traveling around the country. I'm in Iowa. So I go from the sticks, from the hood, and I'm in Iowa riding ATVs. Like, dang, you can do this? I'm like, I thought the police was gonna try to follow it. Like, you can ride, like, I'm like, you can really do this. And then I'm realizing I didn't know what an acre was. And now being a real estate, I'm like, okay, and I'm seeing acres. And we do a festival with 10,000 people or something like that in this big cornfield. And I'm like, this place is crazy. But I enjoyed it, right? And I started saying, how did you get all this property? How, right? So career is taking off and it's going well. Radio, performing in front of my favorite artists, meeting some of my favorite celebrities, and even doing concerts with them. And then 2020 hit and the pandemic hit. People lost jobs, people lost money, and it was tough. People didn't even want to be around the people, they special person. They was like, no, I'm staying away from you. Like, this ain't working right. I'm staying home. I'm not going over there, So they blamed it on the virus. So yeah, I just exposed somebody. But so that happened, and then I'm thinking like, okay, I'm not on tour no more. What am I gonna do, right? And I'm saying, why is this happening? It was back to that same place. Why? I made it so far to get out, and I'm enjoying my life, and I'm sitting there. What am I gonna do? So I got on social media, started posting videos and telling stories. And then I went back to that same neighborhood, right? The one I made it out of. And at this time, I'm in the suburbs. I'm far away from this. Let me go back and share everything that I learned with the people in the community since I have downtime. Because a lot of people, I realized, was asking these same questions, how and why. So when I went back, I'm thinking I'm gonna share my story, and this neighborhood was completely abandoned. The whole neighborhood was abandoned. So what happened next was my heart was broke because I couldn't really share these stories with no one. I found out that a lot of people died, they went to prison, or people moved out when they could, and people just let the whole neighborhood go, and houses were torn down, and it was abandoned. I see my childhood home, and I took a video. I said, I want to buy this house one day. And the house was, my sister sent me a link. The house was on sale for $1,000. The city of Detroit was selling it. But guess what? I didn't know how to buy real estate. At that point, I knew how to travel, how to make music. I bought stocks, and I was doing well in that, but I didn't know how to get in real estate. So I missed out on buying that. So I went back a few years later, and I was working on learning investing and learning a lot of different things. And once my sister sent me that house, it broke my heart because I didn't know how, and it was only worth $1,000. And this is where all the dreams started, and the hustle and everything that I learned, those same tools, right? So I go back, I shoot a video on TikTok and say, I want to buy this. The video hit 6 million views on TikTok. And at the time, my TikTok was exploding, and I'm getting millions of views on all my videos. Someone said, you missed out on this house, but you should buy the rest of the block. So I said, that's a great idea. So I started learning. I started saying, how can I do this? Why is the neighborhood falling apart, but how can I fix it? So I started asking those same questions with that same desperation that I had before. So I got around people who could teach me those tools. And at the same time, I was going through a hard circumstance in life where I lost everything and realized being in a neighborhood that people told me I could lose my life in, I was the same as the people that I was raised around that taught me those tools. Police jumped out on me the same way. I was getting denied for jobs the same way. And what they was asking was how and why. I seen people lose people that they love. I seen people try to get up and keep fighting, but life was choking all the breath out of them. And I realized it was up to me to go back and give them the tools. So I started working on buying this block back without no experience, failed my real estate test 6 times at that time. Crazy, right? But I started partnering with some of the biggest developers in Detroit that helped me purchase 6 or 7 pieces of property, helped me start developing it. And I did it with the community and started getting support from all these different celebrities. And I started realizing one night, one of the guys who inspired me when I was sleeping on my mama's floor, right? At 2020, life got hard. And I went from touring to sleeping on the floor. I remember the night that one of the guys who was helping me mentally focus on my purpose and not giving up on buying these properties, he said, I can't let you give up on this. And then when it was time for me to bring him on my project, his friend had just got shot that night before. And with tears in his eyes, I said, hey, you can't give up. The way you helped me not settle after 2020 and everything fell apart, I need you to hold on and I need you to push forward with me and make this happen. So he said, why is this happening and how am I going to get through this? And we asked that question together. And when we found those tools, we both realized that we can change our communities, inspire the world. And as we find those tools, because we answered those questions, we can impact thousands. And it don't matter. All the people around the world can look at what you're doing and the tools that you got to solve your problems. Thousands of people ask those same questions, how and why. Make sure you take that third step and keep going and take action. Thank you. My name is Trey Little.
Pretty good morning so far, no? I have great news. Christmas has come early. We have Black Santa.
Yay, yeah. Hey, you could, it's not, I am. Actually, I do. I play Santa Claus for an orphanage. I'm going to heaven. I was also Santa in an OnStar commercial last Christmas. So
you got that going for you.
So he's not talking crap. It's true.
So it's been a year since you were on this very red dot.
Yes.
Doing your TED Talk about forgetting failure. It was next. Everyone was saying next right all day.
Yeah, man.
So good. What have you been up to in the meantime?
Well, since TED Talk, I retired from a day gig as a mechanical engineer and took on an endeavor where now I own an entertainment company with my partner, Sam Rills Entertainment. Yeah.
Named after your parents, right?
Yes, yes. I named it after my dad and my mom. We're booking theaters and arena shows
and the Traverse City Comedy Festival coming up.
Yes, yes, we do that too. Yeah.
So you're seeing all these great comics. You know, comics make better TEDx speakers than anyone else.
Oh, we're the best.
Who should be in this red dot?
Well, I was thinking about it, and I'm thinking, you know what? I thought one, but I'm like, nah, I'm going to bring three. So this afternoon, you'll meet my partner, Ann Duke, and another fantastic comic, T-Barb from Detroit. Yeah, she's incredible. But first up, I'm going to bring out a little friend. I want you guys to say hello to my little friend, Cam Rowe.
Hey, you're not the voice of God.
Yeah, well.
Sounds better when he says it.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
Please welcome sales coach and comic, Cam Rowe.
Yeah, little guy, huh? I come from a sports family. This is my cousin right here, Willie Crawford. He played 10 years of Major League Baseball and won a World Series for the LA Dodgers back in the day. Yeah. Not only that, this is my father, number 30 there, Curtis Rowe. He's a March Madness college basketball legend. He won 3 national championships for UCLA under Coach John Wooden. Then in 1971, he was drafted first round, 11th pick for the Detroit Pistons. And became an NBA All-Star. As a matter of fact, last year, he was just ranked the top 25 players in Detroit Piston history. I'm Cam Rowe, 6'9". My last job was at Coney Island. They were like, your boy play ball? Like, no, he can make the heck out some chili cheese fries, though. So my family had big, high expectations for me. And one thing we like to do in my family, we love to make fun of each other, right? It's all in fun. But when I was still actively pursuing sports, my family prank called me on NFL draft night. Now, don't say, oh, they some jerks, man. For real, I got a call. They're like, this is Detroit Lions. We want to draft you. I said, for real? She said, shut up, boy. This your mama. So let me ask you guys this. How many people felt obligated to do something because it was expected of you? All right? Yeah, that happens a lot. Let me ask a follow-up question. How many people made a career choice due to somebody else's expectations? Yeah, that happens. Maybe you became a doctor because that's what your father wanted, or you became a lawyer because that's what your mother wanted. But I'm here to tell you that overcoming expectations and finding your true passion in life is one of the best decisions you can ever make. One of my favorite quotes is, we should never allow our fears or the expectations of others to set the frontiers of our destiny, right? I wholeheartedly believe in that. And that's what I truly, truly believe in. My father is one of my heroes. As a kid, he was like a superhero, right? I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to walk like him. I wanted to talk like him. And my father actually introduced me to stand-up comedy. He has this big, hearty, wholesome laugh. If you hear my father laughing, you'll just start laughing. It's very contagious, right? And one time I was 7 years old. I hear my father laughing. I run downstairs, and I asked him what was he doing. He said he was watching Richard Pryor's stand-up comedy show. It was live on the Sunset Strip. Now, at 7 years old, I had no business listening to Richard Pryor. But my father let me watch it with him anyway, and it was incredible. And although I didn't understand all the jokes that Richard was saying, I saw the reaction of my father. When Richard was telling the stories, my father was very engaged. And then when he would tell his jokes, my father would just bust out laughing. He actually fell off of the couch. He was laughing so hard. And that's when it hit me. And I said, wow, this is incredible. Now, I didn't necessarily know I wanted to be a stand-up comedian at that time, but I loved that feeling that it created, right? For my father to just fall off his seat. So I became obsessed with watching stand-up comedy. I would watch it all the time. I would practice jokes in front of my family and my friends, and it was a true passion of mine. But being 6'9" and being the son of an NBA All-Star, I was expected to excel in sports. And I tried. I actually got a scholarship to play basketball at Seattle University, where I averaged an astounding 4 points and 3 rebounds. I'm probably padding my stats a little bit right there now, too. And I had no identity when I played basketball. People didn't even call me by my name. They just referred to me as Curtis Rowe's son. One time I was playing a game, it was on ESPN2, and the announcer said, "There goes Curtis Rowe's son, missed another layup." You know, his daddy would have made that. There was another game where I was playing, I could hear the crowd chanting something. I couldn't really make out what they were saying, so I went to the end of the bench, and they were chanting, "Daddy's better." Doom, doom, doo, doo, doo. It was something else, man, especially since the crowd that was chanting that was from the school that I played for. So I did not like playing basketball. I just didn't have any identity. I felt lost, right? So after I graduated from college, and this was after my Coney Island days, I got a job working in sales. And to my surprise, I was actually really good at sales. I used to do very well doing sales. And that's because I realized people buy from people that they like. And I used to always make people laugh. And that was the recipe for success. So I enjoyed doing that so much, but I still was not fulfilled. So I had to think about it. I said, what do I love to do? And it all came back to me making people laugh. So I just started to get into stand-up comedy. And when you first start out with comedy, you're not good. But me, I was terrible. I would go to open mics. I would travel hundreds of miles for no pay whatsoever. But I was living in my purpose. But I realized I still had to, realize other people's expectations. Because not only do I come from a sales family, but I also come from a pretty successful family, if you will, especially my siblings. My brother is one of the big wigs at Verizon Wireless. He's the oldest. My sister is the middle child. She's a very powerful, successful attorney. Me, I'm the baby of the family, just following my dreams, as my brother says. Real sarcastic. He doesn't mean that as a compliment at all, right? But I didn't care because I was living in my purpose, man. It was something that I loved to do. So I just continued to work and grind. And when you're doing what you love, it doesn't feel like work. So I continued to get better, a lot better. As a matter of fact, I started getting paid gigs. I started working at comedy clubs where I was the host. Then I got promoted to feature. And now I can confidently say I'm a national headlining stand-up comedian. And one of my biggest moments of doing comedy happened a few weeks ago. I got to headline Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle in Royal Oak. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys know anything about Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, but it is the premier comedy club in the country, right? So the fact that I had an opportunity to even perform there, let alone headline, was incredible. So a lot of my family and friends came out, but especially I remember the last day that I was performing, my jokes were hitting hard, everybody was laughing. But in the back, I heard this incredible, wholehearted, wholesome laugh. And I said, that laugh sounds familiar, man. And then after the show, this older, skinny guy walks up and he gives me the biggest hug. And he was just amazed at my performance. And of course, that man was my father. It was his first time ever seeing me perform stand-up comedy that night. And he was truly taken aback. He told me I was amazing. His words, that's what he said. And but it was truly great. And one of the most important things, or the funniest things I think that night, is people referred to him as Camro's dad. So I talked a lot about finding your purpose, but I want to leave you with this. How do you do that? Number one is 2 things. Find out what you love to do and why you love to do it. Your why is very important because that's going to keep you motivated during the hard times. I know I love to make people laugh. Why do I love to do that? Sure, I love the feeling that I get from it, but I also love the feeling it gives other people. I can't tell you how many times that people have came up to me after a show who were just diagnosed with cancer or they just lost a loved one, and they said, watching my comedy show made them forget about their problems, right? That is the ultimate compliment, and it's fantastic. So I challenge you all to find your why and do the same thing. Now, one thing I want to say before I leave is, and this may sound cliche, but never, ever give up. And I'll tell you why. Comedy got hard, especially 2 years ago during the pandemic. I almost thought about giving up comedy about a year ago. But I got a call last week to change my life. This person called me and said, Camro, I work for one of the biggest agencies in Hollywood, and we're gonna start putting you in movies and TV shows, and we're gonna make you a big star. As a matter of fact, I got you an audition for Saturday Night Live. So follow your dreams. I was so excited, I couldn't believe it. I was like, you got me an audition for Saturday Night Live? She said, shut up, boy, this your mama. Thank you, I'm Camro, thank you.
Please welcome executive producer Sean Lee.
Hey, there we go. Can y'all hear me? Oh, rock that. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all look good. Listen, you all ready for the class photo? Money, we're going to do the class photo. Can I get the house lights up? Rock that. Oh, that's what I can see you all now. Y'all look good. Listen, I need everybody to your feet right now. To your feet. Stretch it out. Shake it out. Get some elbow room. We're not elbowing anybody in the face today. Yes. Ladies, make sure the extensions are right. All right, we get ready to capture everybody. Right now, money, we get ready to do the class photo. So listen, on the count of 3, I just need you all to shake it off a bit. We've been in the dark. Some of you all are sleepy. Some of y'all been eating cookies. I need y'all on the count of 3 to say TEDxDetroit. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's dope right there. Does it feel good to you? Say it one more time. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's dope right there. Okay, so listen, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to get photos of you all. I'm the head of the photography team, and we got photographers everywhere. So I want your craziest look. I need, like, if this is going to be the selfie, let this one be the selfie of your life. Tonight, right here, right now. You ready? I need you to center, focus, get all of your chi together, because we get ready to knock this out. This is going to be aerobics, money. Y'all ready for it? Money, rock that. All right, we got photographers everywhere. If there's a lens in your face, I do not want you to worry about it. We got photographers right here. Somebody say, hey, Phil. Hey, Phil. We got Shadia in here. Somebody say, hey, Shadia. Hey, Shadia. Yes. Darren is in here. Jason's in here. The whole photography team is in here. Say, hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. All right, now listen. On the count of 3, I'm going to set my camera down. On the count of 3, we want y'all to do an X. Who's been here before? Who done this? Okay, I need you to teach the person next to you. All right? On the count of 3, I need y'all to do it on 3. Don't do it on 1 and on 2. We don't need our people who are extra prepared to do the X early. I'm going to be early for my X. I'm going to do it like this. All right? On the count of 3, we're going to take your hands like this. You see my stance? This is get ready for it stance. This is superhero. You're going to turn your superhero on, right? And a beam is going to come from this X right here. So turn on your inner Spider-Man, Superman, Wonder Woman, whoever it is, all right? And we're going to do this and we're going to scream TEDxDetroit. Y'all ready? On 3. On 3. Get you some room. And I see a person preparing already. They already got their X up. I told you not to do that. I told you not to do that. I told you not to do that. Didn't I tell you not to do that? Y'all ready? Are you all ready? I don't hear you. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Do it! Yeah, money. That's yes. Keep it. Hold it up. Don't let it down. You better not. You better not let it down. Money, that's dope right there. All right, let it down. Let it down. Okay. No, don't clap. Don't clap. That was whack. That was whack. Don't clap. That was whack. All right, I need more energy, okay? All right, and on count of 3, this is superhero. The world is on fire. We got to save it with the X. You ready? All right? Kick the chair in front of you. I don't care. I need this. All right? Give me everything you got on the count of 3. 1, we yelling TEDxDetroit. 2, 3, do it! Do it! Yes! Yeah, that was still whack. That's all right. We're getting there. We're getting there, all right? This last one, we're gonna yell rock that, all right? Down the line, this ain't the last one. But on this one, we're gonna yell rock that, okay? I want the X. Now listen here, this is a disclaimer, all right? I want the X with a foot in the air. Now hold up. If you got on heels, if you ain't too sure about your balance, we need no 911 calls, no ambulances coming in because you was too extra with your, all right? Just do a tippy toe, all right? If that's you, all right, you ready? We gonna yell rock that, y'all ready? Money, here we go. On the count of 3. Oh, come on now, come on. Y'all ever been to a game, right? So here's what I want you to do. Look to your neighbor, be like, yeah, money, yeah. Yeah, be like, what up, boy? Yeah, do a little bit of this. Do a little bit of this. For some of my Caucasian brothers and sisters, get you a little bit of this in. Give me some of that. Y'all ready? You feeling it? Give me a jump a little bit. Come on. Come on. What up, though? Count of 3. Remember, X, because some of y'all with instructions, X, leg, right? Rock that. All right? You ready on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3, do it! Yeah! Yeah! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! All right, listen. Got another one. I want everybody point to the camera. All right? Point to the camera. Right? 1, 2, 3. We yelling rock that. 1, 2, 3, do it! Yeah, money. Oh, this is dope. I don't care what none of y'all say. Listen. Listen, we got photographers in the back. I don't know where they at. Turn around. Everybody turn around. Turn around. Throw your hands up and wave. Count of 3, yell TEDxDetroit, and hold the yell. 1, 2, 3, do it. Yeah, money. I hope y'all got that. I hope the team got that. Y'all ready for the last one? Y'all got me all tired? I said you all was gonna be tired. I'm up here aerobic out and, you know what I mean? Making me suck my stomach in. All right, y'all ready? This is the last one. I don't care what you do this time. The only rule, it need to be crazy. This is not crazy. All right? I need hands out, rule. Hands out, don't smack nobody. A leg up. If you feel like the X, because you're tired like me, you can do the X. But I need the craziest face you can make. I need crazy. Like when they look at this photo, they need to be like, oh, they crazy. Right? I don't need to, oh, we're having a pleasant time. Smile. I need crazy. Y'all ready? Count of 3, we yell in TEDxDetroit. You gonna hold the yell, and I want the craziest, ugliest, whatnot. Keep it the craziest face. Not the, y'all ready? You ready? Don't give it to me, all right? I'm gonna call you out. 1, y'all ready? 2, 3, do it! Yeah! Yeah, hold it. You better hold it. Ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a round of applause. Rock that. Have a great rest of the show.
Please welcome executive producer of TEDxDetroit, Terry Bean.
Look at these people. Check this out. Hey, man. You know what's even cooler than giving a TED Talk is filming yourself about to give a TED Talk. I love this. Hey, how we doing? One round for the day? Oh, you know, when they do those late night shows and the person that's got to get up and follow the animal act, that's a tough spot to follow. Welcome to TEDxDetroit, ladies and gentlemen. All right, this is going to be a little mood shift right here, right now, because I want to talk about something that really, really bummed me out. 358 days ago, I got one of the worst phone calls my wife and I have ever received. It was our daughter's boyfriend calling saying that our child was basically catatonic on the floor in Meyer, couldn't speak, and what she did say sounded like a 3-year-old that was challenged. She was in a fit, like straight seizure mode. And if I can rewind a moment, about a week before, she had some difficulty with a roommate who did a little bit of too many pills, too many prescription pills, almost died in front of her. 9 months before that, she lost a good friend to suicide. And the trauma and the emotional draining of both of these efforts absolutely locked her up. We got in the car, we drove the hours to get to her college campus, we picked her up, we brought her home, and the conversation was non-existent. The fear, the loathing, the just uncertainty that my wife and I felt that entire ride was unbelievable and unbearable. And when we finally saw her, it was better, but like this much better. Got to the hospital the next day, stayed there for 36 hours. They ran tests. They came to the conclusion that it was an emotional seizure. And based on the trauma that she had experienced over the 9 months before, it seemed fitting. We were okay with that diagnosis, and the only thing we could do was time, love, and energy. And so I started doing what I thought I could do to help. I wrote some essays, and I wrote a series of them about mindset matters, about how to be more mindful, how to really figure out what's important to you in your life that you could live by, that you could hold on to and carry forward. And so as I went through this little experiment, sending her these emails every day for a few weeks, about the 15th one, I named the email, Finding Harmony in the Fucks You Give. And she smiled, and I smiled, and I said, that sounds like a good name for a book. She said, I agree. And I said, do you think it would be helpful? She said, heck yes. I'm learning things that I didn't know, which hurt me because I thought I'd been modeling this behavior for a long time. But if you don't tell people why you do the things you're doing, you can't expect them to know why it's important. So we reset, started writing some more, put the information out. And if it's okay with you, I want to share 4 of those tips that are in that book. This is our lovely daughter. I am real happy to say that a year later, she's doing phenomenally well. She got a full-time job. Thank you. She's amazing. She's got a full-time job. She's in a major she loves. She's still seeing this young man, and he is kind as all get out to her, and we couldn't be happier about that. And so here is the couple of lessons. Lesson number 1 is we need to stop looking at time as a whole expanse. We need to focus on the moments that we're in. I've said it for years. When you love the moments you live, you get to live the moments you love. Focus on moments. Don't worry about days, weeks, or months. Lesson number 2 came from my friend Phil Klein. If it's not a hell yeah, don't do it. It's a no, right? Your answer to any time someone asks you to do something should be, it's always my pleasure. And if it's not, don't worry about doing it. It's okay. Number 3, you'll slip. Life is nothing but a series of pats on the back and kicks in the gonads. Fun fact, gonads, we all have them. It's a boy and girl term. Maybe learn something today. Accept it and get ready for it. It's gonna happen. And the final one is do things right now. Do things today that your future self will thank you for. My name's Terry Bean. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of the day.
Please welcome singer-songwriter Al Bettis.
How's everyone doing? On October 27, 1997, my mother took her last breath. 14 years later, on the exact same day, my daughter took her first. I wrote this song while she was playing on her birthday. And I realized that I wasn't thinking about the tragedy of losing my mom, but I was thinking about how beautiful life can be. It is beautiful. It was all so simple then. Flying kites against the wind. Penny candy and you. The sun burned brighter. You held me tighter than I ever been before. And the streets seemed wider. The trees grew higher than I ever seen before. And it is beautiful. Said it is beautiful, yeah. I still remember when walking to the park, holding hands. Swing, slides, and you, oh, and you push me so high up toward that blue sky, and I never felt like this before. Over the tall grass, cool breeze in your lap, and I never felt like this before, and it is beautiful. Said it is beautiful, yeah. And I wish that you could see this little girl who looks just like me. Look into her eyes and I see you. Oh, and I'll hold her tighter. I'll push her higher, yeah, than I have ever been before. Oh, over the tall grass, cool breeze in her lap, and I never felt this happy before. And it is beautiful. Said it is beautiful.
said it is beautiful. Thank you so much.
Please welcome the founder of Livac, David Medina Alvarez.
There is no passion to be found in playing a smile, in setting for a life that is less than what you're capable of. Nelson Mandela. I'm David Medina, and I'm a Mexican entrepreneur. And I created Livac, a company set to revolutionize the off-road industry and the meaning about experience nature. It wasn't as straightforward to pick a couple of moments that had led us to this place. After all, we have had so many character development moments that had made my company and I grow. On a late drive from New York City, around 4 a.m. in the morning, it finally hit me. The common denominator into everything that I have done is a passion towards my dream. A vision that was crafted 15 years ago when the spark for creating vehicles ignited within me. Since then, every decision that I have made, every step that I have taken had a purpose, to create my own vehicle company. But knowing what you want and knowing how to do it are two different beasts. The latter one is a little bit more complicated. But growing up amidst a family of entrepreneurs helped. They taught me that real success isn't merely monetary, but about the accomplishment, about turning a vision into reality. They taught me how to work the Mexican way. Or as my dad would say, it's not done until it's done, and it's not done until we say that it's over. In 2016, a flicker of Livac came to life as I saw a window of opportunity in the electric motorcycle business. But I couldn't find anybody crazy enough to hand a check for $50,000 to a 17-year-old, and I really don't blame them. Then 2018 arrived, and that window of opportunity that I saw was already gone, and college arrived. I went to CCS to study transportation design, one of the best colleges in the country for design. Yet there was a little problem. I was going for design, and every design that I was making had a business idea attached to it. This problem carried on until 2020, when I had the worst or the best meeting of my life. The faculty came around to me, and they were like, David, you are a designer, focus on design, leave business to businessmen. And I was like, nope, I don't want to be just a car designer. In my thesis, I believe that any good designer can create everything or anything, from a business plan to a product to whatever. The design process is the following: ideate, prototype, deliver, test, repeat. So on that basis, I started to research, and I saw a window of opportunity again. A market that was ready to be explored, the electric off-road market. First, there wasn't that many competitors. The market level entry was rather low. But most importantly, it was the nostalgia. When I was a child, I grew up in Mexico, and I used to go to this place called Acapulco. And my cousins and I, we used to race down the shoreline. And as we were racing down, we had a beautiful sunset on the background. That's how I knew that I wanted to create Livac. Within 3 days, the first draft of my company was created, but now we needed to find the money to create it. So a friend of mine offered me to work as a construction worker. I wore several hats for several weeks, from a painter to electrician to plumber to anything that I could do, I did it. I worked 15 hours nonstop, every hour counted it. Then after that, I needed to find my manufacturers that would help me to create this dream. So after calling 300 manufacturers, I finally found 28 ready to create what had never been created. Then I needed a team. Instead of looking for internships like my friends were doing, I offered 70 internships to Mexican students passionate and ready to innovate a product in the off-road market. Fast forward to 2022, with sweat, grease, epoxy in our hair, we rolled down
our first prototype at the Topman Center in the Mexican Independence Day at 6:47. Our first prototype was showcased. It was beautiful, and we were tired. That year, we went to present to over 10 more events. But this year, this September 16, changed quite a bit. We weren't at the Topman Center. We were at the Auto Show. The first ever auto show was the Detroit Auto Show, and I was presenting my prototype. My inner child couldn't believe it. To add a little bit of perspective, in Mexico, we produce vehicles, we assemble vehicles, but we don't have the companies that produce these vehicles. And I mean, Italy, Germany, Japan, United States, AKA Detroit, you guys are the mobility hub spaces of the world. But in Mexico history, we may have had 8, 9 companies, car companies, and out of them, there is 3 alive, and we're the 3rd one. So, thank you. So, for our prototypes, we understood our weaknesses, and we transformed them into our biggest advantages. We went from having the best range with the fastest ATV to having the most technological advanced ATV in the world. We have incorporated technologies from 4D printed seat to 3D printed carbon fiber, swappable batteries, wireless charging. We have the best technologies around the world, and our competitors cannot copy us. So that is great. Now, LIVAC is not just me, it's not just a product. It's a symphony orchestrated by 400 individuals who are passionate. It's the mixture, the overlapping mixture of 10 different cultures from different countries. It's supported by 100 dreamers, 28 allies, 4 mentors, and 5 disruptors. We're here today because all of them, because they dare to believe in a dream, in this journey from imagination to reality. And we're not stopping. This is just the beginning. We're here to create a change within the off-road industry so people can experience nature in a different way, the Mexican way. Thank you.
Please welcome Michael and Gina Kells Spain, best-selling authors and co-founders of New Day Foundation for Families.
Five kids, 4 spouses, 3 weddings, 2 funerals, 1 love.
Yeah, 1 love. I mean, love is what everyone wants in their life. They want to give and receive love, but what is it? And where are people finding love these days?
Yeah, people are looking for love all over the place. There's online dating apps, Hallmark movie binges, funeral homes. I mean, people want
funeral
to experience.
Homes?
Think about it. I mean, look, Michael and I have been married now for 16 years. We have 5 kids, and you know, life can get a little messy. Sometimes we argue, we bicker a little bit, we, get at each other sometimes.
Sometimes we yell so loud the dog has to leave the room.
That actually happens, and it's embarrassing. But along the way, we have learned a few things about love.
We have. And if we're going to talk about love in a setting like this, we have to consider what other people have to say about love. For instance, the ancient Greeks, Gina, they taught us about the different types of love that exist in the world. Philia love is what the Greeks called a brotherly friendship kind of love, right? And then, of course, there's Eros. And Eros, of course, is a sensual, erotic, sexual kind of love.
Yeah, not what the X is about.
Did you check?
Just go.
Because I could talk all, never mind. And then there's agape love. Agape love is what the Greeks referred to as the highest form of love. This is a selfless, servant kind of love. And it's not born out of feelings or even attractions to one another. This is a love of choice. And it's the only kind of love that we know of that can truly impact the lives of people we may never meet.
Yeah, now I've been married twice, which may or may not qualify me to know just a little bit about love. Matt Kell and I were married at the age of 23. We were just babies. And incidentally, today would have been his 54th birthday, which I know he's here with us. So Matt was a funny, smart, self-deprecating guy, had a successful career. He was a great dad. And in the last few months of his battle with cancer, Matt attempted to condense a lifetime of parenting into a series of video diaries for our sons. With his Bible in hand, he began with what he said was the most important thing he could teach: love God and love others. Thank you. But he didn't leave it there. He took love a step further in another video when he spoke to our sons about the possibility of their mom, me, loving another man. Watch this.
If mom respected somebody and loved somebody enough to marry them after I've passed away, I want you to expect that I love and respect that guy too. I know your mom's values, and if she remarries, she's going to remarry somebody that I approve of. So I want you to respect that man like he was me. You treat him with love, compassion, and you treat him like you would if I was still alive.
I never met Matt Kell, but the man that he was talking about in that video, that turned out to be me. And his two boys, they're now my sons. And they've grown up honoring their late father by loving me and calling me dad. That is agape love. The Italians have a saying, pay attention, Gina, these are your people.
My paisans.
The Italians have a saying that I just think is wonderful. L'eco di piccolo gentilezze. The echo of small kindnesses. And I'd like to tell you about a small kindness that came my way. My late wife, Kathy, was childhood friends with Matt Kell. They actually grew up together. So she attended his funeral when he died. 3 weeks after that, she got a headache. And that turned out to be inoperable brain cancer. 17 days later, she died. On her last day, I sat with her quietly. I held her hand. She wasn't even opening her eyes at this point. But out of the blue, she said to me, Michael, you should call Gina Kell. She has two small boys who don't have a dad now, and you're a basketball coach. You can teach them basketball. You can help them. Well, I did not want to hear anything like that. I dismissed it. But Kathy grabbed my hand just a little tighter. She opened her eyes for the first time in a long time, and she said to me, Michael, call Gina Kell.
Yeah, it still amazes me to think that I'd only met her once for like a minute, and here she was in the final moments of her life, thinking about my boys and thinking about me. You know, Michael and I witnessed two independent acts of agape love. Matt and Kathy were each confronting death in their mid-30s, being stripped of every single thing that they loved in this world. And in those moments, they each decided to love selflessly. They made a conscious choice. And the result was they set in motion a chain of events that have led to new loves and a new family, and even a new nonprofit called New Day, which helps other cancer patients and families like their own. Now, to be clear, all of this didn't happen because Matt and Kathy died. It's because they lived and how they loved intentionally throughout their lives. So it begs the question, how do we do that? How do we aspire to and experience this kind of love without the cancer and without the loss?
Jim Lovell was a NASA astronaut and commander of 2 Apollo missions. After Neil Armstrong stepped on the lunar surface for the first time, Lovell was quoted as saying, "We now live in a world where man has walked on the moon. But it didn't take a miracle to get us there. We just decided to go." it occurs to me that love requires this kind of decision as well, every day. And I know it sounds simple, right? Just decide to go to the moon. Just decide to love. Well, one of life's great secrets is that often the most profound things are also the simplest. Now, simple doesn't mean easy. Every day we are confronted in today's culture with just how easy it is to hate each other, to lash out, to take sides opposing each other, even family members. But consider this. We are physically predisposed to agape love. It's hardwired into our physiology. When we love selflessly, oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine flood our central nervous system and reward us with feelings of happiness and pleasure and encourage us to go out and love again.
Yeah, Dr. Leo Buscaglia said, only when we give joyfully, without hesitation or thought of gain, can we truly learn what love is. And boy, was he right. If only we could live life as though it were so new or so near the end that all we could do was give and show and become love. Life's beginnings and endings teach us so much about this kind of love. It's the in-between that we tend to forget.
Yeah, and as we consider our own in-between time, we have to realize that our very lives together are the product of people deciding to love. I mean, we are the literal echo of Matt and Kathy's small acts of kindness. Well, it's 16 years later now, and the truth is we actually did meet for the first time in a funeral home.
That is more cringe than Hinge, folks. Truth.
It is true, but believe it or not, Hallmark did make a movie out of all of this. So the 5 kids are now grown and good people. The 4 spouses still get to be in love with each other. The 3 weddings still bring a smile, and the 2 funerals bring grief and hope and heartache.
And the one love still remains, if only we decide to choose it. Thank you.
We've only just begun. That's the end of session 1. What'd you think so far? Okay, so earlier I said the people in the audience are amazing, the people on stage are amazing, but there's a third part. To help me tell you about it, I want to introduce your friend of mine, Smile Man. Woo! Now, no one would ever uncape Clark Kent, but I'm going to unmask Smile Man. It's the artist, Phil Simpson.
Yo, thank you so much for having me. Good afternoon, your neighborhood smile guy, captain of the good guys. I'm outside in the lobby painting some smiles for you guys today. Make sure you stop by, and I got some free stickers for you. Appreciate you.
So, Phil, we see your work all over town. We see huge murals on the side of buildings. We see the pins, the stickers. I was driving next to a truck with smiles all over it.
Yeah. So we're just spreading the message any way we can. The whole positivity message we came up with about 10 years ago to spread kindness, to remind you it's okay to smile. And when you don't feel like smiling, still be kind. That's what it's about.
So yeah, the message of the Smile brand is amazing. But if you haven't seen Phil's fine art, I mean, this is fun.
Oh,
Your fine art is just moving and beautiful. And
thank you so much. So prior to me coming up with the concept of Smile, I spent my whole childhood painting realistic portraits. So I'm really good at fine art as well. So just make sure you check me out at Art by Philip Simpson. And thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here.
You got it. Keep smiling.
Got it. So in labs, besides Phil's artwork, we've got a solar car, we've got luxury automotives, we have authors that are this tall, all kinds of amazing stuff for you to see and experience, get hands-on and interact. And you can pick up some TEDx merchandise.
Bwomp, bwomp, bwomp. Merchandise, super boring. Charlie, come on. You know what's better than just saying merchandise? Is shooting it out of a t-shirt cannon to you. Who wants a free t-shirt?
Let's go.
It's professional hype man, Chris Chambers.
On this side.
That happens a
It
lot.
happens to all of us, bud. It happens to all of us.
One more time.
Reload!
Oh man, we got one more this time. We got one more. Let's do it. There it is.
All right, so you can get merch right back at the cloak check room. We've got hoodies, we've got t-shirts. We're back here at 1 o'clock. Don't tell the session 1 people, but session 2 is even better. We'll see you back here in just about an hour and a half.